He was asked if he would put a picture of Biden in with the presidential portraits. Trump said, "Isn't that an interesting question? We'll put up a picture of the auto pen." I think this guy might actually put up a portrait of the auto pen. I don't see why he wouldn't at this point. And you know, if he does, I support it 100%.
The level of trolling is just beyond.
The trolling, the pettiness. It's also just, it's funny. Like,
It's hilarious.
These are little things. Like, Trump is funny. Like, he's just a funny guy when he's trying to be, when he's not trying to be sometimes. But if he really does do a framed, like, especially if it's an oil painting, it would be so great. And and he has to keep it up for the remainder of his term. Welcome to Loaded Talk. I am your congressman, the third most popular candidate to ever be. I am Frank, and along with me as always...
What's up, planet Earth? I'm Bean.
He is the Bean Master, the Legume Lord. I don't know any other synonyms for Bean right now. All right, so we're back. Did we go somewhere? Yes, we didn't record. So we're back. You're welcome. It's weird. It feels like there's all these stories that I don't really care a lot about that seem to trend real hard and sometimes enough dumb people weigh in that I have to say something, or I feel compelled to, and I jump into the fray. But at the end of the day, these are meaningless stories, and then you go like, well, what's really going on? You know, you look around and not a lot of coverage on a lot of things. So this will be sort of a, I don't know, hodgepodge. I guess one real quick thing, we talked about Trump doing the DC thing. He did. Federal agents all over the place, stop and frisk type stuff. Crime dropped, but I mean, a police state will do that. He is extending the National Guard's presence there until December or something, but a spokesperson said that's more of a make sure everyone gets paid through having official orders, because if they don't officially extend the orders, then there could be stuff about, like, they don't qualify for a per diem and lodging and all that kind of stuff. So they're like, all right, here it is. We're extending it out. But the mayor of D.C. has been kind of going along with it. She's like, I actually am tired of getting, like, robbed. And the people are also tired of all the violence. So maybe I can run on this, fix it up. I'll run on it too. The Attorney General of D.C., or whatever the title is for the D.C. person, he's like, nah. So he's suing right now to say, get the National Guard out. I don't blame him. D.C. is, like we talked about, one of the funky places where they're not really independent from the federal government as much as any other city or town or state, which we went over. We don't have to go over it again. But like you were talking about, you're like, this feels like a warm-up, and that they're going to be going to other places. Well, the topic of Chicago and the topic of Los Angeles, I forget where, but Chicago's definitely come up in a couple other places. What'd you think about that when it all pops up?
Well, it's exactly what I was worrying about. I thought it was interesting that I believe, was it the mayor of Chicago, said that all the guns are coming from out of the state, even though Chicago was like the heart of industrialization. So, yeah, it was either the governor or the mayor or both, because I do think the governor, J.B. Pritzker or whatever, rich boy, I know he's come out in opposite. I think he did. I think it might have been him. But yeah, he said, all these things are coming from Kentucky and Alabama, all these red states. And so these governors, the president's got to do something about the interstate trade of firearms into Chicago. It's like, yeah. It's like, guns can come from anywhere. They can come from anywhere. The problem is, these are illegal guns that are used in most of the crimes. They're stolen. But mainly they're stolen,
predominantly. So it's like, and that happens when you have high crime and you have a strong market for stolen guns because it's children and felons that need guns. And I do think felons should have their gun rights back after they've served their time. I know somebody who is actually serving a little time right now for that exact thing, and I think it's kind of nonsense. But anyway, so that's kind of the, it's one of the circular logic things. You go, well, there's all these guns, and it's the gun delivery guy showing up. But it's like, oh, these guns that people buy in Texas and stuff, and then it'll show up here in Chicago. You go, wow, so people in Chicago just buy a gun and then they commit crimes like that? Someone drives up from a red state, they go, hey, I got guns to sell. And then you get it and you go, well, I guess it's time to rob a bank. Like, let's start selling some drugs, Like, no. There's people who have legally owned guns in Illinois, and probably Chicago too, probably fewer in Chicago by per capita. With all the restrictions. But yeah, there's lots of legal gun owners. They're not the ones doing the crime. So if you're saying like, oh, these guns are being run up, it's like, okay, cool. But it's the people buying them are already the criminal element. These are already the people who are going to shoot them. Whether the gun comes from a red state where more people live who like guns and they sell more guns in places where people like guns, or whether it comes from just Joliet, Illinois, no matter where it comes from, the problem isn't the gun or the origin of the gun. I mean, it could be made in China, but the problem is, of course, the people buying the guns and what they're doing with them, and that is shooting each other.
It's getting tariffed if it's coming from China.
That's true, yeah. Canadian guns, eh?
I can't.
Sometimes you just got to lubricate them with some maple syrup. That's how their army works. So anyway, they're talking, Trump's talking about trying to get in there. Illinois is like, no, don't come in. I think there's another state. I forget where else he's been talking. Like, maybe we go to Los Angeles or whatever. But the interesting thing, my perspective on it was because DC, the way DC is set up, there's a constitutional framework that sort of allows this thing to happen. That dog needs to shut up. There's a constitutional framework that allows this to kind of happen. But no other city does. The problem is this is how Trump does things. Is he'll say, I don't know, maybe we do X, right? And then his base comes out and goes, that sounds a great idea. He's like, I don't like crime, so let's we have his back on that. Crime bad. Sorry you don't like it. Shouldn't support the criminals. And basically all these sort of just Fox News one-liner sort of talking points on whatever it is. So he'll do that. And then people come out, like someone like a Thomas Massey might come out, or Rand Paul, and go, well, that's not constitutional. You can't do that. And so what Trump does is he takes his team of lawyers and political-minded folks, and he goes, figure this out. Like, this is what I want to do. It's got to be legal. So figure out how it can be legal. And so then they figure out workarounds, basically. I don't know what they're going to be able to figure out as far as like going into Chicago against the will of Illinois and Chicagoan locals. Hopefully they don't figure it out. Because, the thing is, it sucks. It sucks that you have high crime in Chicago. Okay. Or Memphis, or anywhere, right? But that's why people leave. You don't have to live there. No one's forcing you to live there. You can leave, and I get it. Like, if you live in poverty, maybe you can't. Maybe it's very difficult to move, and I do, feel for you there. Like, that's a strong point. But at some point, like, as people leave, as it becomes out of control, you have to vote in new leadership. It doesn't always work. I mean, some of these places will have just a grip on it, Chicago, Memphis, Baltimore. Though Baltimore got a new prosecutor, whatever. Maybe Maryland got a new attorney general. Somebody. There's a law enforcement arm of it. who was just elected over there, who was not a George Soros funded person, and like in Baltimore, crime dropped like 60% within the first year.
Wow.
Yeah, it was just like, hey, guess what? We're not going to just say, please don't do it again. Like, there'll be penalties, you know? And I'm sympathetic to the no cash bail for non-violent charges, or maybe that you can file paperwork to say that you don't have enough money or whatever. But I mean, you know, murder and stuff. If the judge is willing to issue bail to you, right? If the judge goes, all right, I'll issue you bail. It shouldn't be something that you don't get if you're poor, you know? So whether it is a murder charge even, you know, if you have these two people sitting next to each other and he goes, all right, bail set at $1 million a piece, you know? So bond's $100,000. Well, if this dude's got, you know, disposable income, or he goes, I'll take a mortgage out of my house, here's $100,000, boom, I'll go get my stuff together, sit at home and prepare for trial. The other dude's like, you know, I work at a Chevron and I don't have I haven't seen, I don't make that in, you know, 4 years or whatever. That guy shouldn't be punished in a way that someone else is not punished just because of the cash flow thing, you know? So I do think there's a system to not have bail as just a punishment system for the poor or the working class or whatever, depending on what charge it is, or, you know, what the bail set at. But you can't just say you get arrested, turnstile, go out there, get arrested same day again, just head back out, get arrested next week. Sorry, just come to, at some point your trial's going to come here. You stop getting arrested, you know? Like, this system doesn't work, you know, clearly. But anyway, I don't know what they're going to come up with, but that's I guess if you're a big fan of his, the good thing about him, or the problem with him, is he does have people who look for loopholes to wiggle in and make things constitutional, make things legal, you know?
To me, I think the only way it would be able to do that is if an emergency is declared, but it has to be declared from within the state. I don't think he could be like, Chicago, I declare an emergency in Chicago.
That's the problem with all those emergency powers. That's why I don't like emergency powers. I mean, Trump's already been flexing that with tariffs. He can't do tariffs except for an emergency. And the emergency is fentanyl. So we have tariffs with India. You know, like it's one of those things where it's you can use them to do things that are minor or major, you know, like it's all these emergency powers are always abused. And, you know, I'm sure Trump devotees will say, well, this is, you know, the Democrats and the deep state are in charge. So he's got to figure out a way to get around the deep state. All right, fine. I'll even accept that. I accept it. You know, fine. That's what he's doing, get around the deep state. It's like, but the government shouldn't be this damn powerful. Like, if unelected bureaucrats can hamper the function, like our government functioning, you know, according to how the elected people are trying to move it forward, that shouldn't exist. That should be neutered. And that's the problem there. Yeah. That's what the hell was I saying right before that little rant about so about the tariffs, he uses that emergency power. So yeah, I am concerned that he could say there is an emergency of some sort. You know, Chicago's on a Great Lake. Maybe drugs come in through the lakes, through Canada or something. You know, that's how they smuggled in booze. Maybe he can do something like that. I don't know. Hopefully they don't do anything like that. Hopefully I don't know. If it works so well, if what you're doing works so well in DC, and maybe other cities will just try a little harder. I mean, really, you could just stand up Baltimore as an example. If you want to say, like, you need to elect better people. Like, I'm sure the prosecutor or AG or whatever that person was, I'm sure that person is a Democrat, you know. But if you have a city or state where it's a Democrat running against a Republican and the Democrat's funded by George Soros, or maybe it's a blue area and a Democrat's got to win, but one's a Soros appointee, one's not. It's like, you know, you can get positive changes without having to go all super authoritarian, you know.
I wonder if just back on the emergency thing, could Trump declare a national emergency and that opens the door for any city?
I mean, theoretically, that's kind of what martial law is.
Yeah.
It would have to be something that could kind of stand, because obviously it's going to go to court, as it should. And so, a national emergency would be a tough one in that if it's a national emergency that only affects, Chicago, it might be something where, every red state doesn't say a damn thing. Even some blue states go, I don't want this happening here. They don't say anything, and they just go, just Chicago sucks. Just let them clean up Chicago, I hear Chicago's great. I'd actually like to go to Chicago. It's grew up a Bulls fan, never been to Chicago. And they got a great music festival every year. I just blanked on what it's called, but Jawbreaker, Misfits, a lot of good people played there. Anyway, they got a good one in Baltimore too. Now that I'm thinking about it. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's theoretically possible. You just have to cook up the right emergency, right logic, and have people buy into it. So on that sort of where there's a will, there's a way. This is one of these stories that hasn't gotten a lot of attention. I've seen it mentioned on a couple of places, like the Blaze has mentioned it a couple times. Here we'll bring it out. Let's see if our thing is behaving today. It's behaving. Look, it's you. So the Trump asked the court to allow the removal of the Federal Reserve's Lisa Cook immediately. So there we go. On Friday, Trump requested that a federal judge deny a request by Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook to prevent the president from firing her. As a court proceeding in the lawsuit blocks the removal play out. Let's see. Trump on Monday moved to fire Cook over mortgage fraud allegations raised by the president's ally, Federal Housing Finance Agency Director Bill Pulte. Yeah, I know. Which centered on Cook claiming primary residence status on 2 mortgages obtained on homes in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and Atlanta. There's actually a third, I think. Yeah. What? Good for the goose, good for the gander thing. You go after Trump for some mortgage on a building where he paid back the loan in full. And granted, it got tossed and everything, but it's like, if you're going to take minutia, this is what it looks like when you go, oh yeah, 2 can play this game. This is why these doors shouldn't be open, because there's no way, the Trump wing of the country is just y'all did it to him, got him arrested. Why? What? You're allowed to do it, And but really, let's just maybe all play by the same rules. All right. So he's got a couple of homes, and Pulte sent his criminal referrals to the Justice Department. She's not yet been charged with a crime. Cook filed suit on Thursday, arguing that the president hadn't met the standard of removal for cause and requested a restraining order to allow her to remain on the Federal Reserve. Trump administration's court filing argues that Pulte's criminal referral satisfied the for-cause threshold needed to remove a Fed governor from the role, regardless of whether her actions met the standard of actually being a crime. That seems silly. If it's not a crime, surely that's not something. I guess maybe if you don't do banking paperwork well, you shouldn't be on the Federal Reserve. That might actually be good enough for me. Hey, you screwed up your loan paperwork. You can't be part of the central bank. Let's see. Under any standard, making facially contradictory statements in financial documents, whether a criminal burden of proof could be sustained or not, is more than sufficient ground for removing a senior financial regulator from office. So I'm actually sympathetic to that argument, but banks are pains in the butts with their paperwork. You better get yours right. Jerome Powell's named as a defendant. Okay, so basically, this lady here, who in this picture, she is not having it. That is one thing I'm certain about. She is not having it. Let's go back to the fact I'm the Mac and I know that. Okay. So what's this all about? Basically, there are 7 governors of the Federal Reserve, right? The board of the Federal Reserve. And And presidents can nominate their appointments. They typically all sail through. The Federal Reserve is considered non-political, and so they just get responsible people that understand banking. Blah, 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 blah. So Trump's about to make an appointment or a nomination for an appointment right now. Okay. And so, there's 6, and he's got his dude he's about to appoint or nominate, and who will probably go in. At that point, there will be 3 people at the Federal Reserve who Trump nominated, right? And there will be 4 who he didn't, I'd have to double check, but odds are at this juncture, most of those are probably Obama folk, And when Bush got into office, he didn't mess with the Federal Reserve much either. He's like, well, these are good people. They know what they're doing. Which, agree to disagree. Okay. So you got this chick, Cook. And if she gets fired for cause, well, he gets to nominate a second one. Well, now suddenly that's 4 votes out of 7 on the Federal Reserve, and he's been pushing for interest rate policy and all that kind of stuff. So he wants interest rates at 0. Get this money going, make it so our federal debt doesn't cost as much. We're borrowing very low now. Of course, there's problems with inflation, all sorts of things that occur with this, artificially holding down prices. I mean, how did our houses get so expensive? It's like, it ends up making it so that people just give mortgages to everybody at 0%, regardless of how qualified they are. It increases demand on the houses exponentially. And then when you get a bunch of BlackRock people saying, hey, let's buy up the American dream, also borrowing at 0%, going, hey, we'll just buy them all. We'll pay overprice because we know we're going to hold it for 100 years and rent the American dream back to these people because they're going to be priced out. I think I saw something that was even. Tell me about it. What was the thing that was even worse about this?
BlackRock buys developments, keeps them under construction for about a year, roughly, makes them look like they're done, makes them look like it. Then they sell those houses to another fund they control.
Just a couple of them, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 3 different models, for example.
Yeah.
Which jacks up the comps in the area, so now they can sell the whole neighborhood or rent the whole neighborhood at an inflated price.
Yeah, and then so the comps are just bought by themselves for an inflated price, and they use that to set the market price, which is it's even crazier. And so when they buy the already made houses, they go, whatever, I'll pay over. Why not? Price is more valuable. If the house is more valuable, you're less likely to afford it. Pay me rent. So anyway, so that is also part of the American dream. Okay. So, but it goes further than this, right? So Jerome Powell is the chairman. He's the chairman of the board, and he is until May.
Too late, Jerome.
Too late, Jerome. Yeah, that's right. Too late, Powell, or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, Trump wants to fire him. So in May, his term as chair will be up. They can vote in a new chair from the board. His term on the board goes until 2028, right? So Powell can stay on the board till 2028. He just won't be the chairman of the board.
Is that the Magnificent Seven or whatever it is?
Yeah. So he'd be back to being one of the 7, not the most magnificent with, I should have looked that up. I wonder how much more power the chair has and that kind of thing. Because really, you only have one vote. That's how boards work. But you're the face, and I don't know. I'm sure your guidance means anyway. It doesn't matter. I'm sure you set executive direction or whatever. Okay. So if Jerome steps down in May, if he goes, I'm just going to retire. I don't want to deal with this nonsense. Well, then Trump gets another one.
Wow.
And then he'll have 5 out of 7, which might be sufficient enough for Powell to go, I'm not going anywhere. 2028. What year is this? So 5, 6, 7, 8, So January 2028 is still the beginning of Trump's last year when the election will be. So no matter what, he steps down. No matter what, Trump's going to get to name a fifth. And so the clip I was telling you I was looking for, which I couldn't find, was Jerome Powell talking about, why the Federal Reserve should be independent from politics. Because if not, you might see things like people trying to manipulate elections with interest rates and making political calculations on things.
Good point.
That's an interesting point. I do remember, now no policy was set, but I do remember going into election year before Biden left. Powell's like, I don't know. We could see rates going down. And so then the market went up. And then he had another one goes, we could see rates going down. Market goes up. If you're an incumbent, you want the economy looking good. And then, of course, they didn't go down. They didn't go down at all. He just said they might. But he didn't. It was almost like he was trying to affect the outcome of the election.
No.
Yeah. And like Trump was like, I'd fire that guy. And he's like, I'm not stepping down. Trump can't fire him. But that's the thing. They go, hey, this needs to be independent. But they're appointed by politicians. It's, the Supreme Court, independent or whatever. And, I just heard this appellate court judge talk the other day. And you could tell that he was appointed by like Rick Scott, I think. But like he does not like the politicization of the court, He does not like how everybody's siding up with a team these days. He's like, you should be just independent, read the law. And I think a lot of these judges, the problem is, and so with these judges, you have people go read the law, interpret the law based on the spirit of the law as it was written. And those have over time gotten to be known as conservative judges, right? Which I think that's sort of a incorrect jargon for them. But then you have people that say, well, if it was today, if the person that wrote the law knew everything going on today, perhaps they'd feel different. So I think in a modern era, it would read like this. And those have gotten to be known as progressive judges. And that actually might be fairly labeled as progressive judge because you're saying, let's progress this further down the line and basically put in thoughts that couldn't possibly have been known, They go, well, Second Amendment, if they would have known what kind of guns existed, they wouldn't have said everybody should have a gun. You go, well, actually, wouldn't you say that at that time, any gun was a military-style weapon? And they said you should be able to have your own military-style weapons to be able to form a militia, which at the time, most of the American military was formed from militias. We're the New Jersey militia. So they basically said you should be allowed to have military-style weapons and come together to form a little army, an independent army of the nation, whenever you see fit. That's the Second Amendment. But people go, oh, well, they wouldn't have thought about AR-15s. I mean, this is a semi-automatic weapon. It can shoot 1,000 rounds just by pulling it one time and sneezing. Have you noticed that people have kind of stopped differentiating between automatic and semi-automatic? Mm-hmm. They at least would lie or kind of be clever with the way they would say it. Now they just go, one pull of the trigger, 30 bullets fire. You go, yes, there's semi in there. That's not how it works. So anyway, so this has ramifications. The Federal Reserve is, I'd say it is the party of big government. So that is the Republican, Democrats, uniparty, the Lindsey Graham, the Mitch McConnell, government. That's what political party it's a member of. Having Trump appointees, I don't know if that starts to get real squirrely or if it becomes, party big government when Trump's there and Trump wants something when Trump's gone. I don't know. Do they just follow his Truth Social posts, or like I do wonder how money management would occur at that point if they don't. No, interest rates is zero forever. That's good economy right there. Like I don't know exactly how that'll be, but my only hope is all right. So you get. I kind of hope she does get thrown off. Let's get this lady thrown off, right? And so she's filing all this stuff saying, I didn't do anything wrong. You can't just throw me off for this, and she's probably right. But you didn't do your paperwork right. And I think, so this article I read the other day, so you have the Michigan home, the Atlanta home, but there's a third home that someone went and checked out after the fact. And they knocked on the door. They're like, oh, it looks kind of empty. And some guy kind of came to the door. He's like, hey, is this, what's her face, Cook's house? And he's like, oh, I'm renting. Oh, okay. So, or he was like, no. Like, oh, you rent here? Oh, yeah, I just rent. It's like, oh, can I get a quote from you? He's like, you should just talk to my landlord, that kind of thing. Which is, fair enough. But you go, so wait, that's 3 houses that you rent out that are labeled as primary residences? Like, where do you live, Well, let's say, good for the goose, she gets booted. My hope is that we can get the radical left to become a group that says end the Fed.
Interesting.
If we can get like a nice merger of like Thomas Massey, Rand Paul, sort of liberty Republican types, and then also like some squad types and like just like the young crazy left to be like in the Federal Reserve. Okay. All right. Now we're talking. So I think what will happen is I think Trump will be successful either right away or at the very least he'll have 3 people. And then by January of 2028, he'll have his 4th person. Whether he's able to push it through in 2028 will depend on how the House and the Senate's made up, I imagine. But I think it'll work. And then I don't know. I think they squash interest rates to 0 and inflation does its thing. we ride the wave, Charlie.
It's like a wave from both sides, though. Like, I don't even know how we get out of this.
Yeah. And the Fed, that's the only way.
Yeah.
And like, that's how, one of the gross things about the Federal Reserve, like we used to have like the gold standard, right? And people go, actually, if you look back, you need to go back to silver, whatever. I don't care. Peg to something real, That's people.
I like silver too.
Yeah, silver's good with me. That's whatever you want. Right. Whatever you want.
Almonds. Who cares?
$1 is worth 300 almonds. But back then, like we held on to gold for people. That was like your currency's value. The dollar was pegged like $35, or an ounce of gold was $35 or whatever it was. And so you had to hold that much. But when you would go to war back in the day, one of the reasons you might end a war is you run out of money. Well, we talked about when the capital of the United States was sitting in Philadelphia for a minute, that the militia came being like, hey, you ain't paid us. Like, we kind of had run out of money during the Revolutionary War, and we said, we'll get you. We just need a minute. And it took us a little bit, but there's times that you run out of money, whether you're a king or, like these kings would talk to other kings, borrow money from the lords, and I'll trade you back this land and all this kind of, that. But when you're not winning at a sufficient rate, and like as you win, you obviously conquer and get some riches to keep going, But if you're not winning, even if it's just a standstill, at some point, there's a lot of death and you run out of money. It's expensive. And you go, all right, let's wrap this thing, But after we go, what we're going to do? We're just going to print it. We'll just print it anytime we want. Now you have infinite money to fight as long as you want. I just keep going. I can print some money here, buy some missiles. Here we go. And then the war is over, and they go, well, that seemed expensive. You go, oh, it was good for the economy, wasn't it? It was great we built all those tanks and stuff. That was good. It was good doing that. So yeah, the Federal Reserve's not just our interest rates. It is the never-ending wars. It's all the sort of bad policy that's able, it's the devaluing of the dollar, which of course is tied to interest on that, but it's part of the slavery system that's been established because there's, the free market can set interest rates. It did. Banks would borrow. They go, well, I want to lend. Like, I'll lend it at 7%. The other bank goes, I'll do 6. And someone goes, 5. I can do 5. And, eventually things settle in. The market, this, out of everything, borrowing and lending money is something the market can always figure out on its own without centralized control. They'll figure it out, So, I don't know. Hopefully this wave of politicization, because that's the thing, it's going to have legs too. These people are in for a little bit. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe they just, well, we'll wait a few years and then this person will fall off. We'll nominate another, fight fire with fire. But I'm hoping, and the Fed, this is the time. Come on, Democrats. You know you want to. But that's something where it's kind of being framed as just this squabble, Trump trying to get his way. But it really is sort of a major deal, especially if Powell does step down at the end of his term as chair. Because no matter what, Trump gets to nominate the next chair. So he'll either nominate the next chair and he'll have 3 solid votes on his corner, or he could have 4, All right. What's something else going on? Oh, yeah. Well, I guess I did get a video of this one. So, is that where I want to go to next? I think so. This is another kind of questionable constitutionality kind of thing. So, we sunk a ship of drug runners. All right. So, it was... Let's see. Video shows U.S. military blasting drug boat, killing 11 suspected Venezuelan Tren de Agua narco-terrorist. Let me see. Where's this video? I don't want to listen to the article. Show me the video. I think this takes me somewhere else I don't want to go. Let's hit mute first. Let's just not anything work. How about that? Great. I'll let this go through the ads. On mute just in case. Whatever. I don't think there's any audio. Hopefully. Well. Yeah. Okay. I think we're all right on the audio. Okay. Pause. Pausey. Let's go to it now. Okie dokie. Let's watch this. Boat is going to blow up. Okay. Come on. I hate you, Fox News, so much. All right. What are we doing? Just hit play. So you see, there's a boat. Nice size. Look at all those engines. As in motors, not natives. So I guess there's 11 people on that thing and a whole bunch of drugs, which makes sense. Up. And then we made it go boom. And that's it. Oh, boom again. So they did. They're dead.
Mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished. Go back to the banner. So basically, we have declared Tren de Aragua a terrorist thing. It's a terrorist organization. We've pretty much declared Venezuela a state sponsor of terror, and there is, let me see, there's a quote in here where somebody says, Cartel of the Suns. So this one dude, Carlos Jimenez from Florida, he says the vessel belongs to the Cartels of the Sun cartel. I looked them up. It's basically, no one's in agreement on whether it exists or not. It's been kind of talked about since the 90s or the 80s or something. And so some people, it's just a stupid name to make it seem like Venezuela is a narco state, which, I mean, come on. But
They haven't filed their registration papers yet?
yeah, I guess not. But like Maduro's said to be the head of it,
Oh.
and he's the former quote unquote president of Venezuela, who still has all the power that a sitting president would have. So it's one of those deals where it's like, okay, so they're a terrorist organization. The head of it is the president of Venezuela. And so, Venezuela's basically been named a terrorist organization. But yeah, so this ship was it was in the Caribbean, probably heading towards Puerto Rico. And so they made it go boom. And I guess the way it is technically it's not an act of war in that they're a terrorist organization, and they, I guess, by bringing all of these drugs towards America, I guess that is the act of force that is endangering America. And so, by that measure, they're an enemy combatant, and we can blow them up.
Okay.
Kinda. It's something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anything on like planet Earth is heading for the U.S.
I mean, if they're Arab, I mean, it really does matter like where it comes from. If they go, hey, that ship's coming over from Iran, then we probably will blow it up. And now if it's like from Venezuela, we'll probably blow it up. And so it's that leftover war on terror kind of nonsense. You designate something a terror organization, and you kind of have rights of striking them wherever. Now there's I mean, we do drone strikes and stuff in other countries without their permission all the time. But when they're in international water, it makes it a little easier, I mean, they're not flying a flag either. It's not like they go, hey, this is a Argentinian ship, they're not flying a flag at all. So you're not supposed to our military can't just go around and sink ships, right?
Huh.
We can't just go sink fishermen, But it does seem like what we used to kind of do is like apprehend these things, like wait till they get near our coastal waters and get the Coast Guard to take them. Be like, hey, look, we got them. They're arrested. And look, that's the drugs. No one actually had seen the drugs on this boat,
Huh.
And no one, I mean, they tell us that it's Tren de Aragua. You go, I guess I gotta believe you. They're at the bottom of the ocean. I mean, it's like when they said, we disposed of Osama bin Laden. We threw him off at sea, so he couldn't have a proper Muslim burial, and that way, he never gets his virgins and all that kind of stuff. It's a lesson to everybody. And you go, so you threw him in the water, and he's dead, and you threw him in the water. They go, yeah. It's like, dude, you video it or something? Like, nah. I guess I'll just have to take your word for it. I can't really search the ocean floor in the Atlantic Ocean.
The one thing I'm curious about is to piggyback off your point, like we usually, we take the drug paraphernalia so we can resell it on the market. Why didn't we take advantage of that?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I think with this one, I think, part of it could be that this could be all part of a flex, like on the one hand, it's to show like Venezuela, we mean business, and Tren de Aragua, that, we mean business. Like not only are we going to stop you, we'll arrest you when you get here, but we'll blow your ass up. So in a drug prevention sort of way, it could be that. It could also be a flex towards Venezuela tends to be allied with Russia and China and Iran. And so it might be a way to go, we are paying attention to our hemisphere. And, we're actively taking out problems that we see in our hemisphere, so maybe be mindful of that and don't cause problems over here. Could be that sort of flex as well, I guess. But it sure would be nice to see some sort of evidence.
And what would be funny is in my head, I'm thinking this giant paradox. We just deported a bunch of people supposedly in this gang. So they go back to Venezuela, they get on a boat full of drugs and come back.
Yeah.
And then we blow it up.
Well, maybe that's part of it too. They go, hey, we just sent you back. I think we sent most of those people to El Salvador, though.
True.
Yeah. El Salvador. But so not only did we bomb them, but a little bit before that, we sent 3 destroyers and to kind of chill in the Caribbean and around Venezuelan waters. And then we sent 3 or 4 amphibious, some of which transport sort of vessels. So there's a few thousand men aboard as well, men and women or whatever, sailors or whatever. People. There's people fighting.
Hey, easy.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, so like now just chilling around the Caribbean and down near Venezuela. I guess we've got 3 destroyers that have, these missiles that can take off or, handle the air, the sea, the land. And we have amphibious ships that can fight in the sea and also drop a bunch of dudes off to go raid your land, which is also a bit of a flex. And I do wonder if we are about to go surprise, we took out Maduro and we conquered Venezuela. We've been talking about Iran and all this stuff so much. No one saw the Venezuelan, invasion. But I don't know. Maybe it's happened.
They have a lot of oil reserves, don't they?
They sure do. This is how stupid Maduro. Who was right before Maduro? Chavez?
Yeah.
Was that right?
Or was that? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. His name was Julio Chavez. No. What was his name? Was it Chavez? Anyway, how stupid these people are. These 2 in particular with their sort of authoritarian,
socialism.
Yeah, and they say socialism, they say communism. At the end of the day, it's more dictatorship, and I guess socialism.
Price control, at least.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely tons of that and tons of confiscation. It's one of those weird things where it's all these terms kind of get blended. At the end of the day, it's like authoritarian control where they are allowed to just take your stuff whenever they want. Control, the means of production and distribution, but not in a harmonious sort of way. It's just authoritarian control by any other name. But anyway, they are sitting there. They sit on huge oil reserves. I mean, Citgo gas. Remember after 9/11, the guy before Maduro he said something like, F America, whatever. And everyone's like, you don't buy Citgo gas. That's Venezuelan gas. And that was this big thing. And because of the lovely communism they give back to their people. And so in Venezuela, gas is free if you're a citizen. So people are taking the gas, they're driving to the border, and they're selling gallons of gas for whatever they're selling, $1 a gallon. And so really the price per barrel, even though it was free to the citizen, it would cost the country, whatever it was at that time, $2 a gallon. Well, these people were getting it free, selling for $1 a gallon, which is a discount for the other people on the other end. So the people finally make a little bit of money, but it's bankrupting the country. That and other horrible policies, of course, but they, is one of the most oil-rich nations, definitely in this hemisphere, But they were able to piss it all away to the point of eating zoo animals, eating out of garbage. There were ration lines at the dumpsters for picking through trash. They had ration lines for garbage. It's crazy. And yeah, they have tons of resources. So I don't know. Maybe we are going to invade Venezuela.
I hear they got nice beaches.
That's probably true, yeah. I mean, really, it does. It would be nice if Venezuela had just decent leadership. Because, I mean, it does look like it'd be a nice place to go, you know, if it wasn't an authoritarian hellhole. All right. What other kind of fun are we having out here in the world? That might be something. I don't know. Yeah, there's another dump of Epstein files that was largely nothing. Oh, did you hear they had the missing minute was in there?
Oh.
So nothing's on the missing minute, but we were told that it was like, oh, that was just when they do the daily switchover, there's a minute missing. Like every day there's a minute missing or something. Of course, there's other stuff missing at other times, but we were told like, oh, that just happens. It just happens. And then they dump all this stuff and you go, that one's got the minute in it. It's got the whole, and you know, once again, there's nothing on the minute, but you go, well, that sure looks like either that or it's an AI minute. Like they just kind of slid out an AI minute, or just changed the time code on it. But, which maybe that's it. Maybe they just low key dumped it, but it also smells like now y'all edited something together and you cut something out and you got caught. I don't know why you did it, but I do think I saw that they did somebody did an analysis on it, like a forensic analysis on the video, and they said it was edited with Adobe Premiere and that minute was, you know, there was a cut made at that point. So like you edited it with Premiere. Why'd you take out the minute?
And then you re-edit it and try to put it back in.
Yeah, like what the hell is happening? Like what like as far as what that means, I don't know what that means. Is it just ineptitude? Like just short-sighted? It could just be ineptitude. It could just be, but it's like, why would you even why even edit it? Like what's the point of even editing it? Just slap it in. Maybe the guy goes, I accidentally dragged like that. Yeah, I mean, and honestly, if that was the reason, if they come back and they go, Carl over here would like to tell you something. Like, I dragged too far. You go, all right.
Undo button?
Yeah, I didn't notice because it was a bunch of stuff. It was real boring footage, and they don't pay me well. And I've been up for a while, slamming Red Bulls and eating donuts, and you know, I just don't care. I'm burnt out on this job. I don't care. And then you go, okay. I get it, Carl. You don't care. You weren't about to double check your work because you don't give a shit. Okay. I accept it.
It's the most honest thing about it right there.
Yeah, they'd have to find like one guy, be like, look, you gotta ask Carl, and he's, you know, stain on his shirt and just like, honestly, I wish Epstein would have hanged me. Not because of this mishap. I just so burnt out on this job. There's no reason to go on. But yeah, screwed it up. Fire me. They won't fire me. Fire me. Please, God, fire me. And if they just showed that guy, I mean, only works the first time though. You can't bring that guy out again. It's like the first homeless guy that said, I'm honest, I just need a beer, you know. Here's $5. You see it again, you go, I don't think we're being honest anymore.
It almost reminds me of the guy from Waterworld who's in the tanker. When the flare drops down, he goes, oh, thank God.
Yeah, that's funny. Oh, okay. Let's have some fun. What are we at? 52? Yeah, let's have some fun. This is not important at all. So, the Trump White House trolls every former White House employee, including Obama, with one simple change. So, this is from The Blaze. On the job posting and career networking site LinkedIn, the administration changed the White House's profile picture to the President Trump official 2025 portrait, which was revealed in June. That's, of course, the one of him scowling at the camera going, that's right, I'm back. Trump Part 2. Uncut. So now, any former employee who lists the White House under his or her job experience section will now have to see Trump's face for better or worse. And so, most notably, it affects Barack Obama's page. I should have brought this up ahead of time, but let's just see what this page. I guess here we go. So here's Barack Obama over to the right. Experience, President of the United States of America, but then it shows Trump's face. So it's, we go back. I can't. I forgot. I shouldn't have done this. I forgot. I wasn't on a normal tablet. Oh, actually, here we go. E. I guess I could have done that. So, yeah. So now, this former Biden administration guy, Jeremy Edwards, he posted this thing. The White House is now posted on LinkedIn and made their profile picture a picture of Trump's face, which means if you worked for the White House in the past and it's on your profile, people see Trump's face. I guess that's what I get for using LinkedIn. And so then Trump's, what is he? He's a communications director. He replied, "That's the whole point, dummy. Tra-la-la-la-la-la-la." So yeah, that's I guess he got mad about it too. Thanks for the explanation, dumbass. I guess we should be grateful it's not your face I have to see when I open this app. Yeah, appreciate you looking out for us. So
some intern was like, Mr. Trump, Mr. Trump, Mr. Trump, I have this great idea.
Oh yeah, you tell him that. He goes, oh yeah. Do that.
And he turns to his the people that have been like, why didn't you guys think of that?
What do you think about after the first Trump term, when it was coming to an end, and they were impeaching him again, all that kind of stuff? All these people who worked for him, who needed to get jobs, all these, there's boycott efforts, loading up ahead of time, being no one needs to hire anybody that worked for the Trump administration, or they should be boycotted in perpetuity. So they were setting up just because these people worked for the president of the United States of America, they should never be allowed to work in private industry again. And so they were kind of doing that thing. So it is kind of funny where you go, all right, let's see how many people believe that. By the way, now your resume also has my face on it. If people hate me, guess what? They hate you too. Thanks for building it. It led to another funny little moment. So there is presidential portraits are going to be going in the Rose Garden after he redid the Rose Garden to have that patio thing, which involved getting rid of all the grass. I feel like you keep some of the grass. I haven't seen the total pictures, but it looks like they basically just paved over the grass, which isn't a garden if it doesn't have grass, in my opinion. But maybe they did something later. But he was asked if he would put a picture of Biden in with the presidential portraits. And Trump said, "Isn't that an interesting question? And I'll listen to you, too. It's a decision I have to make. We'll put up a picture of the auto pen." After reporter Reagan Reese called the idea hilarious, Trump later added, "I got to do it. It's going up in about 2 weeks because it's all being prepared." I think this guy might actually put up a portrait of the auto pen.
He's gonna do it.
I don't see why he wouldn't at this point. And if he does, I support it 100%.
The level of trolling is just beyond.
The trolling, the pettiness is also it's funny.
It's hilarious.
These are little things. Trump is funny. He's just a funny guy when he's trying to be, when he's not trying to be sometimes. But if he really does do a framed, especially if it's an oil painting, I mean, surely he'll go to one of those websites where you send a photo and they make it look like it's an oil painting, Hopefully they don't spend or if they do, hopefully Trump spends it out of pocket. No matter what, I hope he spends it out of pocket for it. But yeah, this a framed picture of the auto pen. It would be so great. And and he has to keep it up for the remainder of his term. After that, the next president can put Biden up there and go, well, it's time to move on, So, yeah, it is, but we're going to have our fun. I guess the last just a little bit thing. Not a lot to say on the matter, but Ilhan Omar, her latest filings said that her financial disclosures, that her net worth has gone from something small to $30 million. And mainly from her. Well, it could be as much. It's somewhere between $5 and $25 million. That is from her husband's venture capitalist firm. Now, Charlie, you go, Ilhan Omar married somebody who's a venture capitalist? That's weird because doesn't she like not like venture capitalists? Don't worry, Charlie, she didn't. This guy was a fundraiser for the DNC. He was a fundraiser for her campaign. They were both married. They started knocking boots. They both got divorced. Now they're married to one another. But he was never in investments at all. But he's got a partner. Oh. He was not in investments either. But there is a third guy.
Oh, great.
Also was never in investments. So it's just 3 DNC employees who got together. And they did do a round under a different company of like investing, managing money for this weed farm or something. And then they got sued because it seems like they just gobbled up the money. Maybe they lost it all or something. In the lawsuit, it seems they point out that they falsified their bona fides because they didn't actually have any sort of investment experience whatsoever. And these people gave them a few mil. And so they ended up settling at some point and paying 2.17 mil or something like that.
Oh, they claimed to be accredited investors and they weren't?
They might be accredited, but they claim to have experience. You know, they're like, hey, we're an investment outfit. You know, we're years of experience. And they go, wait, you don't have years of experience in investments. You just have years of experiencing life, like working for the DNC. But ever since Ilhan Omar and him got married, suddenly super lucrative. Now they're just making money. It's the damnedest thing.
Good job. Whatever you're doing, write a book.
Yeah, it's crazy. I can't imagine what they're doing. Can't imagine how that just happens. Someone's spouse or child or relative becomes a investment wizard.
Practically overnight.
They just go, oh, I get it now. Stonks. I got it.
Buy low, sell high. Okay.
Oh, why didn't I try that yet? All right. That's gonna wrap us for this week. Make sure you follow us on all the things: YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, X. We are Loaded Talk, of course. Recommend us to a friend. Click the follow. Click the subscribe. It does help the algorithm. If you share it, that also helps the algorithm. We are in some YouTube jail, and we're trying to get out. Let us out. What do you got for the fine people?
So, per Grok fact of the day, on this day in 1998, Google was founded by Larry Page and Sergey Brin.
And they had the catchphrase, or their chief phrase was "Don't be evil." That was the brand. Google, don't be evil. I think they did it. They solved it. No problem. All right, see you later, people. Don't be evil.